Hello and welcome back to another Space Engineers Showcase video. In today's video, I'm once again taking a look at one of your designs that you recommended me in the comment section of one of my videos. And for today we are looking at another small fighter. This one is called the Scoutfly Heash Mk1, and hopefully I'm saying that name correctly. But this is it right over here. So this is a very small, very sleek looking ship that has these two ramming spikes at the front there for you to crash into another ship and hopefully deal a nice lot of damage, while also keeping the main portion of your ship perfectly safe. And we'll test it out later on because I do like a challenge. Pressing F10 and finding it in the spawn menu, the Scout Flyer is 2,183 small blocks using the Sparks of the Future DLC packs. We can also see a nice lot of information about it on the Steam Workshop page, such as its PCU limit, its block count, and a bit of information about the ship, where a very important part is mentioned right here, where the two big structures on the side are dampeners. They are able to absorb large amounts of damage during ramming, which will save the main body of the flyer many times. And we'll test that against an asteroid at the end of the video. So giving this thing a thumbs up. Moving all the way around to the very front, we'll have a quick look around the outside, we'll have a quick look at how the ship has been set up, and then we'll find a nearby asteroid, crash into it to see if these can truly save it from a high-speed crash. So all the way over to here at the very front, this is what we get. So front and center we got ourselves a camera to help aim both of our Gatling guns precisely. Just below that we got a lone spotlight, just in case your enemy is hiding in an asteroid, using the darkness to their advantage. Surrounding all of this, we got some lovely dark green carbon fiber steel blocks with a few strips of white and yellow. If we were to come all the way past our fighter cockpit and onto this section, we'll see a large hydrogen thruster, one on both sides to help stop this thing very quickly. We can also see a battery on the top left, as well as part of our ion thruster to help push us around in space. All the way over to here, we've got a projector to help repair this thing up if it ever took damage. Then coming all the way around onto the opposite side, that is what we get. So instead of our projector block, we've got an antenna to make sure we can always find this. If we were to turn our attention all the way over to this part, this is our ramming spike. We've got a bunch of steel blocks, bunch of white and green, that come all the way across over to this section, where we've got a lovely point that should deal a nice lot of damage into any ship you try to ram this into. Now I think about it, we're going to test it against an asteroid and another ship to see the damage it can cause to an actual ship. All the way around onto this section, this is simply the point of our ramming spike. Then coming across onto this side, this is what we get. We'll eventually come across to our white steel blocks, we'll see a couple of ion thrusters to help us out in space. So here's one for our left and right, there's a sneaky one up there to help push us down. There's the battery we saw at the very start with a gyroscope just on the corner. Then all the way over to this section, we'll see a sneaky hydrogen thruster to help out on our left and right. If we were to pull away from there and start to move all the way around onto this section, got a little bit of a spike at the back there just to help out with your defense in case someone tries to ram you, so hopefully that will help out. Then coming to our very back, this is what's going to push us around. So we've got two large hydrogen thrusters and two large ion thrusters, which should give us some nice speed while boosting around. We also have a connector and camera set up to help dock this thing up with ease. If we were to get a bit closer and all the way onto this side, we'll be able to see another ion thruster with a magnetic plate right below there. If we were to drop down and come underneath, there's another small hydrogen thruster, there's the other large ion thruster on the opposite side, even more small hydrogen thrusters, a couple of batteries, an ore detector just in case you need it, and all the way over towards the very front there, another hydrogen thruster, and there is the bottom of our Gatling guns and our spotlight shooting out a lovely white beam. If we were to come all the way up and above and look down, that'll be our fighter cockpit where I'm currently sitting in, there's our hydrogen thrusters to help push us down. There's some more great block work, and there's the other ion thruster we saw on the opposite side. All the way over to here, behind this fancy little bit of block work, we're going to find one hell of a lot of gyroscopes, which should give us a nice lot of control while flying this thing around. We can also see a large hydrogen tank on this side, there should be one on the opposite, there it is. Should mean we should be able to fly around for a nice long time. And we do have an oxygen tank on here, just in case we need it. And there is the very back. And there we go, that is a very brief look around the outside of the Scoutfly Heash. And hopefully I'm saying that correctly. In fact, I think I just butchered that word. I think it's Heash. Or even if it is Hesh. Oh well, whatever. Just grab hold of my character, bring up the HUD, and pretend like that never happened. So in first person view, when we look down, we've got a lovely LCD screen displaying everything we need to know about our controls. So number 1 is going to be for our Gatling guns to shoot them both straight forwards. There we go. Number 2 is for our camera right next to our Gatling guns so we can precisely aim that, zoom all the way in if you need to. Number 3 is for our landing gear to lock and unlock them. I think I called them a magnetic plate earlier, so that's my mistake. I just saw it like that, and that looks like a magnetic plate with how flush it is with the rest of the blocks. Number 4 is for our hydrogen thrusters and the front end to turn them off and put us into a cruise control. Number 5 is then for our spotlight to turn it on and off in case you don't need it. Number 6 is for our hydrogen tanks to stop power on and off. Number 7 is for our camera at the back there to help dock it up. Number 8 being the connector right below it. Number 9 is then for our battery to auto or recharge. Then on tab number 2 we've got an antenna on and off, our O2H2 generator on and off, our oxygen tank on and off, hydrogen tank once again, and then our ore detector on and off in case you want to save on a bit of power. Onto tab number 3 and 4, this is going to be controls for our projector, but it is a little bit buggy in my word, I'm not too sure what is going on with it. But we can activate this, we can then put our blueprint in place. If we took damage, easily see where the damage is and repair it up. Unfortunately it's not currently working, but I think that's on my end. And with that all done and out of the way, I think it's time to test fly this to see how it handles. So back over to tab number 1, realigning the camera, moving forwards, that's what we get. We've got some nice speed, it's not as fast as the ship I showcased in the previous video with the turning on and off the thrusters in stages, but it certainly is fast for a small ship. Coming to a stop, we appear to be equally as fast, which is always nice to see. We don't need to do a 180, so we don't have to plan ahead when coming up to a station. Moving left, and moving right, we've got a surprising amount of speed with that. I thought it was going to be quite slow considering how many thrusters are on the left and right hand side. Then moving down, and moving up, again, some nice speed. Very well balanced all the way around this ship. And then as for gyro controls, this is what we get. It's a little bit odd, it's generally what I prefer on a small fighter, but you would have thought it would have been very floaty considering how many gyroscopes are actually on here. Which makes me think the gyroscopes have been turned down. No, they haven't, they're at 100% power. Yes, it's generally what I prefer when it comes to a small fighter. It's not too sensitive, it's got a bit of weight on there, and you got a nice bit of meaty control which makes it actually feel like you're flying a hefty ship. But now what we can do is, oh, an unknown signal has spawned. It's spawning another ship, and we'll ram it into that to see how it handles, and then we'll go over to this little asteroid in the distance there to see if the ramming spikes can in fact protect it. And here we go, I've just spawned in the NSI Dragon, which is one of the earliest showcase requests I ever did. And this should be a very good test of those ramming spikes on the side. I have high hopes for this. Benji said that a test flight said the ship is rock approved after he crashed it into a mountainside. So let's try it into another ship, first of all the way over to here, avoiding the hydrogen tanks that will blow up the rest of the ship. All the way forwards. And there we go. I am very impressed with that. We just lost one of the sides there. The rest of the ship is perfectly fine. And we did one hell of a lot of block damage to the NSI Dragon. Just a massive chunk of steel blocks missing, and we've now exposed the hydrogen tanks, which we can now shoot, and hopefully cause a big explosion. And there we go, that was a lovely hydrogen tank explosion. I love that they added that in. It's really nice when you actually hit an enemy ship with a hydrogen tank, and you see a massive explosion come out of it. Very satisfying. But now, being it survived that test, I need to spawn in a brand new one of these to make it fair, and we'll find an asteroid. And here we go, we're now flying away from the old one, we're flying away from the wreck of that little ship, all the way over to this asteroid, and we'll see how well this can handle it. This is usually the biggest test because a lot of ships behave very odd when they slam into stuff. Some ships will just simply bounce back and not take damage, other ships will crumple into little pieces, then some, which I found out recently, will just phase into an asteroid and act very odd. So here we come all the way across to this asteroid, straight forwards. And there we go. The ramming spikes work very well against the ship, against an asteroid, and it seems like we took the same amount of damage as we did on the other one. And there we go. That is that for the Scout Flyer Heash. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. And there'll be a link to it in the description below if you do wish to download and play around for yourself. Highly recommend you do. And there'll also be a link to the Skybox as well. And I think to finish this off, we're going to find out where that ship has gone, and we'll simply ram into that hydrogen tank, and that will be that. And here we go for one final crash, straight back into the NSI Dragon, right into the back. And there we go, that was a nice lot of damage. Anyway, I'm having too much fun with this. Thank you all for watching, and I'll be back with another video some point soon. Bye bye.